we're all here to commemorate the 74th year of Gandhiji's assassination. It's a terrible day, 74 years back. But times are very terrible. So we wanted to know how we could celebrate or commemorate this day, and we decided that Hind Swaraj is a text that we need to remember quite desperately now. Hind Swaraj is a text that he wrote even before he arrived in India, even before he became Gandhiji. He was becoming Gandhiji in South Africa when he wrote this book. So in a sense, it's a very raw, passionate outpouring of nonviolence. It's a raw, passionate outpouring of what he thought should be the system that we should have in order to make India independent and also better India. You know, so let's discuss Hind Swaraj. Now we are 5 of us, and this is Sachu. Sachu is an artist, a very well-known artist, but he's almost given up on art because he is feeling the terrible situation in his belly. And of course, he's still doing art, but he is also doing spinning quite passionately the last couple of months. Ritu is an actress. I've seen her perform. She's a brilliant actress. She used to be a software engineer. I hope she's going to continue to be that for a while. And but she's an actress. Ahan is a young man wanting to become a sound engineer, but we all feel that he should become an actor. He's very handsome, and so he's going to be an actor, another actor. And Ranjan Kamath, the die-hard theatre director, film director, and lately a Gandhi fan. He's become a fan much bigger than all of us, and so, of course, he must begin.
Yeah. At the age of 5 or 6, I was told, I heard the famous Lokmanya Tilak, Swaraj is my birthright and I must have it. And it has taken me 5 decades later to actually ask the question, and what is Swaraj? I've heard it. And I was told, and this, at the 75th year of independence, I was told, if you really want to find out, what you have to do is read this text, Hind Swaraj. And I did. And I wondered, I said, why has it taken me so long to actually read this text? Why wasn't I taught this in school? I have read Das Kapital, I have read every other, sort of sacred cow text, but not this. And I feel every citizen of India must read this text and must know and decide for themselves what they can apply and how they can apply it, because it is so relevant today. So that's why I'm here today, to be able to participate in this exercise.
I must comment on this. Why did you not get to Hind Swaraj, or why did the world not get to Hind Swaraj for so long in a big way? It's partly because it's a badly written text. Like all great texts incidentally are written with such passion, with such urgency of the situation, that they are sometimes technically badly written. Gandhiji, in fact, says that he wrote it on a steamship traveling between England and South Africa. And in England, he had gone for some job which did not happen, and it took him 3 months of stay in England. And he was with all those Indian students and Indian scholars in England. And they were all thinking of defeating the British with violence. So day in and day out, day in and day out, this man is trying to talk them out of this bullshit. He can't. So when he gets into the steamship, suddenly it comes out. And he says he actually wrote it in both hands, metaphorically.
Mm-hmm.
He was so desperate. And this entire text, he finishes it in about 6 days. So the text is difficult to enter. He is talking about issues which you don't know whether they're metaphorical or real. So let's now crack that, because we need to crack it. We need to crack that text.
To comment on what you said, I think the text is sort of clumsily written, but what is so apparent is the heart. There is so much of heart and such application of mind to it that you say, wow, you have to share this. And so, yeah, let's do that.
Is Swaraj is written as a dialogue between two people. One of them is a reader or the follower, and the reader is asking questions to the leader. And the leader is Gandhiji, but it need not be Gandhiji. So it's a fascinating dialogue form Gandhiji takes, and he also says why he took a dialogue form. He says Gita is written in a dialogue form.
So we come back to the question, what is Swaraj?
I would now like to know your views on Swaraj. I fear that our interpretation is not the same as yours.
It is quite possible that we do not attach the same meaning to the term. You and I are all Indians, are impatient to obtain Swaraj, but we are certainly not decided as to what it is. To drive the English out of India is a thought heard from many mouths, but it does not seem that many have properly considered why it should be so.
Why do you want to drive away the English?
Because India has become impoverished by their government. They take away our money from year to year, the important posts are reserved for themselves, and we are kept in a state of slavery.
If they do not take our money away, become gentle, and give us responsible posts, would you still consider their presence to be harmful?
That question is useless. It is similar to the question whether there is any harm in associating with a tiger if he changes his nature. Such a question is sheer waste of time. When a tiger changes his nature, Englishmen will change theirs.
You have drawn the picture well.
This is what we've all done. We've just changed the tiger skin, and we've all gotten into the bloody tiger. We are all tigers, better tigers than the British colonialism ever was. And that's the importance of Hind Swaraj.
And so he says, you have drawn the picture well. In effect, it means that we want English rule without the Englishman. You want the tiger's nature, but not the tiger. That is to say, you would make India English, and when it becomes English, it will be called not Hindustan, but Englistan. This is not the Swaraj that I want.
Can you talk about the Englistan that Gandhiji imagined, but we have? We have an Englistan. You are an artist.
To put that, I would like to share few things where I got into Gandhi. I tried many a times to comprehend him, with so many texts, including Swaraj. But to be very honest, I could not crack this. It was too complex for me. The day I put my hands on Charka, then I realized Gandhi is not a noun, he is a verb. Unless you get into action, there is no way out understanding Gandhi. So today, I feel so proud to say that, I was fanatic about buying clothes. You cannot even imagine. Just to get into a store to buy undergarment, I would end up buying few pairs of pants and shirts for me. But it has been 3 years since I have not bought anything. Whatever I am wearing, it's all produced by the yarn which I have drafted. So Gandhi started growing in me through charka. Whenever I see this,
Just a minute. When you say charkha brought you to Gandhiji, what do you mean? Is it the rhythm of charkha or the slowness of charkha? What is it truly?
actually, charka gave me myself. I spend 3 hours a day. So those 3 hours are so precious. That is the time zone where I meet Gandhi. I started. It was so fascinating to realize Gandhi. This man built the entire nation through this. The intensity what he had when he held that fistful of salt. Today, none of us have that integrity. Even for that matter, when he used to fast, today we are fasting for issues, whereas it was for his own realization he used to do. He never used to encash something.
His own cleanliness, cleansing of himself.
Yes. So, I feel, even today, Gandhi is the only relevant thing for us. What can resolve things in today's scenario? It is just Gandhi. And Gandhi can be, we have actually, today being the Martyrs' Day, actually, even today we are killing him. That, we say we are commemorating, actually we are celebrating.
Get back.
And wherein lies the problem he addresses in this next chapter, which is called Civilization, where he says, let us first consider what state of things is described by this word civilization. We will take examples. The people of Europe today live in better built houses than they did 100 years ago. This is considered an emblem of civilization. And this is also a matter of promoting bodily happiness. Formerly they wore skins and they used spears as their weapons. Now they wear long trousers, and for embellishing their bodies they wear a variety of clothing. If people of a certain country who have hitherto not been in the habit of wearing much clothing, boots, etc., adopt European clothing, they are supposed to have become civilized out of savagery. Formerly in Europe, people plowed their lands mainly by manual labor. Now one can plow a vast tract by means of steam engines and can thus amass great wealth. This is called civilization. Formerly, only a few men wrote valuable books. Now anybody writes and prints anything he likes and poisons people's minds. Formerly, men traveled in wagons. Now they fly through the air in trains at the rate of 400 and more miles per day. This is considered the height of civilization. It has been stated that as men progress, they shall be able to travel in airship and reach any part of the world in a few hours. Men will not need the use of their hands and feet. They will press a button and they will have their clothing by their side. They will press another button and they will have their newspaper. A third and a motor car will be waiting for them. There will be a variety of delicately dished up food. Everything will be done by machinery. Formerly, when people wanted to fight with one another, they measured between them their bodily strength. Now it is possible to take away thousands of lives by one man working on a hill. This is civilization. Want to carry on?
Formerly, men worked in the open air only as much as they liked. Now, thousands of workmen meet together and for the sake of maintenance work in factories or mines, they work all day. Their condition is worse than that of beasts. They are obliged to work at the risk of their lives at most dangerous occupations for the sake of millionaires. Formerly, men were made slaves under physical compulsion. Now they are enslaved by temptation of money and of the luxuries that money can buy. There are now diseases of which people never dreamt of before, and an army of doctors is engaged in finding out their cures. So hospitals have increased.
What she means is We've become slaves of an easy life, and easy life is not easy. You are working not 8 hours, but 18 hours, maybe 20 hours, and neglecting your child, neglecting your parents, neglecting every bloody thing just to slave for the so-called easy life, which Ranjan described.
What you said, this is a test of civilization. Formerly, special messengers were required and much expense was incurred in order to send these letters. Today, anyone can abuse his fellow by means of a letter for 1 penny true. At the same cost, one can send one's thanks also. Formerly, people had 2 or 3 meals consisting of homemade bread and vegetables. Now they require something to eat every 2 hours so that they have hardly leisure for anything else. What more need I say? All this you can ascertain from several authoritative books. These are all true tests of civilization.
It seems Gandhi is here and now watching people press buttons. I mean, it's amazing. 100 years ago, he has foretold the future which we are living. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah. How accurately has he predicted.
I mean,
yes.
Yeah, today you have the Ubers and Olas and
From food to a motor car, everything at the press of a button.
Actually, I think we've reached a point where we may not be able to get back. It's a real dangerous situation. We are facing the danger that dinosaurs faced and succumbed to. So maybe with Gandhiji, maybe with a stupendous human effort, stupendous in the sense that the entire world of humanity joins hand and does it, maybe we can save the life for our children. Otherwise, no.
Which he addresses in the next chapter. Why is India lost? Why did we get lost in the first place?
I do not know what I should adopt and what I should avoid from the nations of Europe, but one question comes to my lips immediately. If civilization is a disease, and if it has attacked England, why has she been able to take India? And why is she able to retain it?
The English have not taken India. We have given it to them. They are not in India because of their strength, but because we keep them. They had not the slightest intention at the time of establishing a kingdom. Who assisted the company's officers? Who was tempted at the sight of their silver? Who bought their goods? History testifies that we did all this in order to become rich all at once. We welcomed the company's officers with open arms. We assisted them. Okay.
I would like to state it slightly contemporarily. Uber exists not because they want to exist, but we want them to exist.
Exactly.
Google exists not because they want to exist. We want them to exist. All this bullshit we talk about capitalism and anti-capitalism is bullshit because we want them to exist, because we want to make life easier and easier and easier, and we are product driven, we are consuming like hell.
Yes.
And that's why they exist. So Gandhiji makes a very, very fundamental statement. He says they will drop off. They will deconstruct.
Yes.
And you don't have to do anything. You just stop consuming them. Stop consuming. Consume less. They will drop off. All the frighteningly big, monstrous multinationals will drop off like magic. This is what Gandhiji is saying.
And this is how he explains it in terms of the railways, the lawyers, and the doctors representing the system. And he says, railways, lawyers, and doctors have impoverished the country so much so that if we do not wake up in time, we shall be ruined. Perhaps we're at that day.
I do now indeed fear that we are not likely to agree at all. You are attacking the very institutions which we have hitherto considered to be good.
Railways accentuate the evil nature of man. Bad men fulfill their evil designs with greater rapidity. The holy places of India have become unholy.
Replace the railways with the virtual transport.
Exactly. Formerly, people went to these places with very great difficulty. Today, of course, they're praying on their laptops. Generally, therefore, only reason devotees visited such places. Nowadays, rogues visit them in order to practice their roguery.
It was after the advent of the railways that we began to believe in distinctions. And you are at liberty now to say that it is through the railways that we are beginning to abolish those distinctions.
Well, we believed that the railways would bring us together. Today, we believe that the internet will bring us together.
The social
it has done
media.
Exactly the opposite, right? It has built walls, created boundaries, divided us. Okay? And so what the railways represented at that point of time, today it is everything that brings us together, mostly in the digital platform.
I want Sachu to respond to this because you've been using internet and you're also using Charka. Come on, man.
I'm really confused now in the sense knowing if what it would have been if Gandhi were to be here today, sitting amongst us. He is. Problem is we are unable to recognize him. But if he were to be here, I would love to ask him a question. I would have asked him this. Because we have bored the generation. You go and speak about Gandhi with any kid in any school. You can just predict the expression what you would receive. We have really bored the generations. And Gandhi has to be taught it has to be capsuled. It should not be made loud. It has to be worked out like a sort of underworld thing, because before somebody else snatches away Gandhi.
Misuse internet, are you trying to say?
No, but those are the
Why
things.
not?
Of course, Gandhi, if he were to be here, he would have had the laptop.
Yes.
I'm very sure.
I was also wondering if he was here today, would he have used the internet to spread Gandhian philosophy?
We were just listening to him talking about railways, whatever.
But he traveled all the life.
Exactly.
He knew he had a
He
best
was a lawyer
intent.
himself.
Yes,
He was a
yes.
doctor himself.
His intents were too good and pristine. He knew the real purpose of anything. He would have brought a different quality to the internet if he were to be here today. Because we are clueless. We do not know. Internet is not a bad thing. Our obsession to it is bad.
No, it has been the case with books.
Yeah.
The book has published the Bible, the book has published pornography. So there's nothing wrong with the book. So it's the same with the internet. I guess, you can't, throw out the baby and the
See,
bathwater.
actually, you were talking about, while introducing, you were saying why all the schools are not, kids are not taught about Swaraj. Gandhi has to be introduced through action. Then Gandhi will grow. That is the only way. See, all intellectual feeding, because today's danger is not people who speak ill of Gandhi, people who speak about Gandhi. They are wearing Gandhi. Gandhi has become ornamental. See, whenever we speak about simplicity is not opposite to pride, it's absence of pride. Or else you will start wearing your simplicity. It's as good as some girl wearing a diamond necklace, she is showing her wealth, and someone else is showing a simplicity. Gandhi never knew that he is simple.
I just want to tell this story which I so often tell. Apparently, an old woman once brought her child, a small child, 2-year-old child, to Gandhiji in 1938 when Gandhiji was crowded with politicians and politics and Nehrus and Patels queuing up to see him. And this man spends 15 minutes with him. Not only that, and he tells this old lady to bring the child next week. Mahadev Desai is furious. He says, "What is this, Gandhiji? The whole world is on this thing, and you are like the general. And what is it?" Gandhiji says, "No, but the child is eating too much of sugar, and the old woman wants the child to not eat so much of sugar, but to tell the child that I must first give up eating sugar, so I have asked for a week's time." So this is what Sachu is saying. You can't wear it, the simplicity. You have to taste it, and then you will either leave it or have it.
See, simple thing. I mean, of late, I'm really obsessed with Charkha. So wherever, if somebody asks me to speak about Gandhi, I don't find any difference between Gandhi and Charkha. What brought us freedom can definitely bring in lot of change in this country. Khadi is the only thing. Seriously, if everybody starts spinning, and it will fracture your personality from within. You won't even recognize that what change you have gone through. It has made me. It has honestly, I have stopped being judgmental. So for me, the world looks, even now, the world looks good. Because of this action which I am engaged in, and it can. So I am traveling like mad. I am visiting all the schools and enticing children to start spinning. And a few schools, they have agreed that they produce their own uniforms by way of spinning.
My goodness.
So I feel hopeful. I really aspire to live for another 200 years. Honestly, I there is so much to do. And somebody was asking me, why you took up Charkha. So Gandhi looks, as an artist, I always visualize Gandhi as a sales representative. He's carrying so many things, truthfulness, non-violence, this, that, everything he's carrying, and nobody is there to pick it up. He is frantically running around, and we are just appreciating him. Oh, so much you are carrying. Oh, he has all the things, but there is nobody to. So I have unburdened him from Charkha.
And now we have a job for Gandhi to bridge the divide that exists in India today between the two communities, and where he talks about the Hindus and the Mohammedans, the Muslims, and he's asked.
He has said, what would be the answer to this? But what about the inborn enmity between Hindus and Muslims?
That phrase has been invented by our mutual enemy. When the Hindus and the Muslims fought against one another, they certainly spoke in that strain. They have long since ceased to fight. How then can there be any inborn enmity? Pray remember this too, that we did not cease to fight only after British occupation. The Hindus flourished under Muslim sovereigns and the Muslims under Hindus. Each party recognized that mutual fighting was suicidal and that neither party would abandon its religion by force of arms. Both parties therefore decided to live in peace. With the English, Advent quarrels recommenced. Should we not remember that many Hindus and Muslims own the same ancestors and the same blood runs through their veins? Do people become enemies because they change their religion? Is the God of the Muslims different from the God of the Hindu? Religions are different roads converging to the same point. What does it matter that we take different roads so long as we reach the same goal? Wherein is the cause for quarreling? There are Hindu iconoclasts and there are Muslims. The more we advance in true knowledge, the better we shall understand that we need not be at war with those whose religion we may not follow. So Gandhi has a big task on his hand.
He is romanticizing the situation a bit, which he has had to, which even I have to do if I was the whatever prime minister or chief minister or something. There were violences, there were killings, there were problems at times, not always. Gandhiji is right there. But the point Gandhiji makes, which I completely agree, is that there is no choice apart from cooperating with each other. There is really no choice. And what we've been doing for the last 3 decades or 2 decades is unnecessarily doing the opposite of cooperating. Especially these 2 countries, this horrible divide that the British created between Pakistan and India, it just killed the whole thing. And it is even now killing us. And we all know that every Pakistani is like an Indian. He loves the Hindi film. He loves a lot of our stars, a lot of our food, and we love a lot of their food and all that. But then, if you are a newspaper, you have to talk bloody anti-India. If you are a politician in India, you have to talk bloody anti-Pakistan here. This is a tragedy, which of course Gandhiji didn't know because he happily died before this tragedy happened.
He speaks of tolerance. He says we need not be at war with those whose religion we may not follow, which is it is the need of the moment today.
And the subject of that divide, of course, today is the cow. And he says, I myself respect the cow.
The holy cow.
Yes, that is, I look upon her with affectionate reverence. The cow is the protector of India because being an agricultural country, she is dependent on the cow. The cow is a most useful animal in hundreds of ways. Our Muslim brethren will admit this. But just as I respect the cow, so do I respect my fellow man. A man is just as useful as a cow, no matter whether he be Muslim or Hindu. Am I then to fight with or kill a Muslim in order to save a cow? In doing so, I would become an enemy of the Muslim as well as of the cow. Therefore, the only method I know of protecting the cow is that I should approach my Muslim brother and urge him for the sake of the country to join me in protecting her. If he would not listen to me, I should not let the cow go for the simple reason that the matter is beyond my ability. If I were overfull of pity for the cow, I should sacrifice my life to save her, but not take my brother's. This, I hold, is the law of our religion. When men become obstinate is a difficult thing. If I pull one way, my Muslim brother will pull another. If I put on a superior air, he will return the compliment. If I bow to him gently, he will do it much more so. And if he does not, I shall not be considered to have done wrong in having bowed. When the Hindus become insistent, the killing of cows increased. In my opinion, cow protection societies may be considered cow-killing societies. It is a disgrace to us that we should need such societies.
Actually, he said something very, very important. Cow has nothing to do with the Hindu-Muslim problem. Cow has something to do with the system of agriculture where we ousted or killed the cow from out of that system. Like we've killed so many other things, good things, simply because we wanted to adopt a new system, So I'm interested in this. I'm very interested. Sachu is very interested. He told this, and all of you are interested in actually reshifting the system back to the cow-led agriculture. When the country has a cow-led agriculture, it's a completely sustainable agriculture, it is some completely natural agriculture, and also it is not a bad way of agriculture. We've done it for thousands of years and we were very good. We produced food. So the point really is that we are hypocrites. We want to kill the system, but hold on to the image. And it is so easy to hold on to the image because then you can construct an enemy outside of you. The Christians would construct an enemy in the Jew, the Hindu would construct an enemy in the Muslim, or the Brahmin will construct an enemy in the Dalit, or the Dalit in somebody else. It's like this. So the problem really is, it boils down to sustainable way of living, simple way of living, as such you said. You just have to live simply. All these things will vanish.
And the people who take advantage of that, Gandhi represented them as the lawyers. When he says, an ordinary man will ask them to forget all about it. He will tell them that both must go to more or less at fault, and he will advise them no longer to quarrel. But they go to lawyers. The latter's duty is to side with their clients and to find out ways and arguments in favor of their clients, to which they, the clients, are often strangers. If they do not do so, they will be considered to have degraded their profession. The lawyers, therefore, will, as a rule, advance quarrels instead of repressing them. Moreover, men take up profession not in order to help others out of their miseries, but to enrich themselves. It is one of the avenues of becoming wealthy, and their interest exists in multiplying disputes. It is within my knowledge that they are glad when men have disputes.
In fact, this can very well apply to democracy. This beautiful, wonderful idea. We have made democracy into a lawyer-led democracy.
Correct.
Actually so, because mostly it is lawyers who become politicians or who did become politicians till recently. Now builders are becoming politicians and film stars are becoming politicians. But the point is, this so-called multi-party system is that when you are in the opposition, you talk all Gandhian things, and when you are inside, there again you talk Gandhian things, but just do the opposite. So it's that hypocrisy, the hypocrisy of division. What Fukuoka, the great peasant, the Japanese peasant, talks of the differential knowledge. The moment you construct differential knowledge systems, my role is to oppose and your role is to support. And we endlessly do that, and then we shift to that side and you shift to this side, and we keep doing that, endlessly quarreling and writing books about constructing things.
And then we come to the third pillar of civilization, which is the doctors. And Gandhi says, I was at one time a great lover of the medical profession. It was my intention to become a doctor for the sake of the country. I no longer hold that opinion. And why don't you carry on?
Doctors have almost unhinged us. Sometimes I think that quacks are better than highly qualified doctors. Let us consider the business of a doctor is to take care of the body, or, properly speaking, not even that. Their business is really to rid the body of diseases that might afflict it. How do these diseases arise? Surely by our negligence or indulgence. I overeat, I have indigestion, I go to a doctor. He gives me the medicine, I am cured. I overeat again. I take his pills again. Had I not taken the pills in the first instance, I would have suffered that punishment deserved by me, and I would have not overeaten again. The doctor intervened and helped me to indulge myself. My body thereby certainly felt more at ease, but my mind became weakened. A continuance of a course of medicine must therefore result in loss of control over the mind.
Sachu, you must react.
Very, very recently, Gandhi again introduced me to something. I don't know, had I got it tested, I would have been positive, COVID positive. So I had severe symptoms 2 weeks ago. So I met one of my friends who is in Hubli, who is quite fanatic about Gandhi and his ways of eating. Okay, so he is on complete raw diet. So he advised me to, be on juice, vegetable, fruit juice and vegetable, which I did it for a week. I refrained myself from eating any solid food other than fruits and vegetables, without even taking a pill. Okay, So Gandhi would always carry a can of enema with him. See, whatever you touch upon, anything. So Gandhi gives solutions, answers to everything. After 80 years, still he is relevant. I'm sure even after 150 years, we'll be sitting like this and we'll be talking. Gandhi will still be relevant. Okay. So, I mean, looking at the way the medicine world is taking us for a ride today, I never thought, being in design field, I also used to run an ad agency for my living. I never thought that, hospitals would have advertisements. That's the most gory thing that can happen. You just see 80% of the hoardings in town displayed are of hospitals. Don't ignore cold, it may be something else. Don't ignore this scratch, itching. It may be eczema. I mean, that's the way they scare you. So, I mean, I'm speechless when it comes to his understanding. He has given postulates, which doesn't require anything to be proved.
He was the Google of his time, but he just provided solutions.
He will do it on himself.
Yeah. Okay.
In fact, I would go one step ahead of Gandhiji. Dogs and donkeys, when they fall ill, they just stop eating. They don't eat. So through eating, either they get cured or they die. And most often they get cured. Very rarely do they die, and in which case they had to die.
In fact, Gandhiji had believed that there is nothing called disease. There is only one disease, which is constipation. Today we have all sorts of constipation, even intellectual constipation.
We have a thali of lifestyle afflictions. And in the pandemic today, the paranoia over immunity.
Immunity boosters.
Immunity boosters. Then you want everything sanitized. I mean, and then you realize this is big pharma on a roll. They just keep you in a state of fear and paranoia. And then, booster, vaccine, something else, and they're constantly, this is carrying on for years and years and years.
And we almost feel
in fact,
that,
I just want to talk about this strange thing. I don't know why people haven't thought about it. Coronavirus, attacks you finally with lack of oxygen. And we are telling the whole country to wear the mask and not breathe.
Exactly. You wear it for hours on end and you're just like, I need to breathe, I need to take it off,
And then you are desperate and angry. All politicians are angry. All oppositions are angry that you're not able to, supply oxygen cylinders. My God. What oxygen cylinders can you supply to human beings?
Actually, we misinterpreted mask. They asked us to wear mask.
Yes.
Which we have always been wearing. So we put
encourage us to wear mask. Mask of Gandhi, mask of various.
We have so many masks on, we can't
So
breathe.
you just have to keep wearing
That
mask.
film, that rascal of an actor, that brilliant actor, what's his name? The film called Mask.
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey, my
Yes.
God. And that film is so great because actually the mask takes over.
Yeah.
You think you are controlling the mask, but finally the mask starts controlling the face. And Jim Carrey is not able to take it out.
Yes.
And that's what has happened to us.
And so finally, Gandhi tells us we have to look within, and the answer to what is true civilization. And he says, our ancestors set a limit to our indulgences. They saw that happiness was largely a mental condition. A man is not necessarily happy because he is rich, unhappy because he is poor. The rich are often seen to be unhappy, the poor to be happy. Millions will always remain poor. Observing all this, our ancestors dissuaded us from luxuries and pleasures. They saw that our real happiness and health consisted in a proper use of our hands and feet. They further reasoned that large cities were a snare and a useless encumbrance, and that people would not be happy in them. They were therefore satisfied with small villages. The tendency of the Indian civilization is to elevate the moral being. That of the Western civilization is to propagate immorality. The latter is godless. The former is based on a belief in God. So understanding and so believing, it behoves every lover of India to cling to the old Indian civilization, even as a child clings to its mother's breast.
Again, I have a small difference with Gandhiji here. The difference is because maybe Gandhiji had to react against West that way because he was leading a struggle. I don't think he really believed that. He was so close to Christianity, for example, that many thought that he was going to become a Christian. But the point is, it is not West as West. So beyond that, I agree with him. Beyond that, I completely agree with him that he's talking about the fundamental issue of looking inside and not looking outside. The West has also looked inside. The East has also looked inside. Maybe we had a better way, and we have a better way of looking inside, which we should use, and not just talk about it, and not just go to America and teach there, or spread it and make money. But then I think we should stop the discussion here, because if people can't get interested in, as such you said, in action, in spite of this 1 hour of our spending time, they will never.
When you spoke about clumsily written, I think the way he has used the West is part of that clumsy writing, because perhaps he referred to materialism, and so the West was an easy way to say that,
And convenience.
So it was a very convenient way of saying spiritual material, and then you represent it as the West,
Yeah. Even in today's context, when you address materialism, it is West.
Correct. Yeah. So it's part of that
We are
hand.
aping a lot of things.
We are horribly materialist.
Yes.
Much worse than them. They don't eat so much as we eat. They don't build houses so big as we build. Now I'm talking about. Maybe they did earlier. I want the two of you young people to wind it up, because we have made this horror, and you have to live in it.
So wind it up with Gandhi's advice.
They also have to excuse us.
Forgive us.
How can India become free?
The whole of India is not touched. Those alone who have been affected by Western civilization have become enslaved. We measure the universe by our own miserable foot rule. When we are slaves, we think that the whole universe is enslaved. Because we are in an abject condition, we think that the whole of India is in that condition. As a matter of fact, it is not so. Yet it is as well to impute our slavery to the whole of India. But if we bear in mind the above fact, we can see that if we become free, India is free. And in this thought, you have a definition of Swaraj.
Oh, wonderful.
I believe what he has highlighted again and again is that the fact that even today we have come to this level of consumption. We want convenience in everything. We want everything to be easy and at the snap of our fingers. So at that time also he meant that the British sold us an experience. What they brought, we were attracted to it, and that is how they became they started ruling us, and they became more powerful here. So if we stick to our roots, if we believe in our roots, then we'll reach better heights that way.
Great. Thank you, Ranjan.
Thank you. I think
Thank you very much, because you took pains to come all the way from Bangalore to Mysore to have this discussion.